Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw. Ooh, no, the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast. I got a comment the other day, just last night on Wrestle Juice. Somebody said, "You're beating this Steve and Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast business into the ground. Stop with this shtick."
It's the thing.
It's not even a shtick. We renamed the show, probably temporarily until John Cena gives up that title.
But
and then we may or may not go back.
It's a permanent change.
It's possible. You and I literally have not talked about it. But here's the thing.
No.
The name of the show is just a name. It's just a name. It's the same show.
The magic that exists, that lives within that show, that remains the same, regardless of what it's called.
It's just a couple of old idiots who've known each other way too long. Look at this. Look at this idiot over here with a chipped mug.
Giant.
Like
a quarter of my mug is missing.
Where did that thing come from?
The dishwasher. I just washed it.
Oh, okay. Anyways, on today's episode of the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, we're going to be talking about last night's Monday Night Raw, the go-home Raw to Money in the Bank, where the final lineup of participants in Money in the Bank has been determined. We're going to have a lengthy conversation, and Larson has, according to rumor and speculation, a new conspiracy theory about Money in the Bank. Ooh,
I do.
Theremin. Insert theremin here, Larson.
I know. Exactly. No, it's something I mentioned to you kind of half jokingly last night in text form, and then I marinated on it a bit, and I'm like, no, I think this is going to happen. Because
I legit don't know what you're talking about. You mentioned in the pre-show.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see. I'm interested to hear if you have more complete thoughts about that. So we're going to talk about that. People are still reeling, Larson, though, over the what's like the verb for that? The expiring contract? WWE allowing R-Truth's contract to simply expire and not re-signing
choosing not
him.
to renew or sign a new deal.
Because you can't call it a release.
No.
So whatever that term would be, that's what they're doing.
Let his contract expire,
Yeah. And so, we're kind of curious if there's going to be
apparently
any sort
Valhalla, Sarah Logan's contract is going to expire too.
Yes.
Saw that today.
Yeah. We're kind of curious, given that R-Truth seemed to be the flashpoint of this, this latest thing, because Carlito as well. But because R-Truth is so beloved, just sort of curious if people are going to, maybe try to take over. And we did, in fact, get a smattering of R-Truth chants at various times during Raw last night. Do you think this is the kind of thing that's going to pick up steam, or is it going to peter out? My question actually is Triple H going to continue to get the big responses whenever he comes out to introduce a big show, like not the big show, like a WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or whatever?
I mean, there's a couple things to kind of parse out here.
Yeah.
Regarding the chants, it would be great if they had some staying power. Not very often when talent is released do fans, chant for a released talent's name during the following show. It doesn't happen very often.
Oftentimes they're released in bulk, so to speak. And so, and usually there's a variety of reasons, but usually it's people who you don't really see on television all that often. And I think there's a general understanding of like, yeah, this sucks, but kind of get it. Truth, given that I know that there were two other announcements in the same vein with Carlito and Sarah Logan, his is kind of a unique situation in that he's just main evented. He's been with the company for 20 years. He's the most beloved guy on the roster. So just, within context, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a different situation, obviously, with Truth than maybe some other people have been released in the past. It would be great if there was some staying power to these chants, because if fans object to people losing their jobs, then they should voice that and hold Triple H, Nick Khan, whoever, or try to hold them accountable to some degree, and let them know we are not happy about this. And is it something that's going to pick up steam? I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing that's going to happen on Raw last night, maybe SmackDown this week, and then everybody will kind of move on. I don't know. But if it's a situation where fans, kind of en masse, are not happy about this move and voice their displeasure, I'm all for it. As far as Triple H being cheered, I think that's going to continue to happen regardless because he doesn't show up very often. He only shows up at major events for the most part. There might be a smattering of boos, but I think for the most part, people are going to pop because they associate him with the improved quality of the weekly programming, and they're going to cheer accordingly, I think.
I think you're right about all that. I don't think that, I personally don't think that I don't think our truth chants are going to be like the new CM Punk chants. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they'll probably eventually peter out a bit. I think maybe if our truth starts a podcast, I think that'll be fine. I do. So like, who's it? Death and Taxes here in our Twitch chat says more what chants, the our truth chants, Cody getting booed versus Cena. WWE is losing the goodwill from the crowd for sure. I think you can take each of those things and kind of give you an alternate take, provide an alternate take on what's going on with each of those.
You know, if WWE was losing the goodwill of the fans, you know what they'd see? A lot more empty seats. That's the true sign of goodwill dissipating with the fan base because people aren't willing to spend their money on the product anymore.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The thing about like attendance is oftentimes it's front loaded. Like a lot of these seats were purchased a while ago, and so we'll see that. That's going to be. I think the ratings thing is kind of significant, but ratings always depends on. I don't know what the SmackDown ratings were yet. But, you know, with Cena there and Cody there, maybe that'll give us a better indication. I think Cena might be, I don't know when Cena's supposed to be back. Well, he'll be there at Money in the Bank. But like, I think it's possible Cena might, because he was the most recent R-Truth feud. Maybe he'll catch some R-Truth chants and respond to them. I feel like they're going to move on though. I feel like last night there was not like a big takeover thing. I think that, you know, it was an entertaining enough show. You know, people are simple, man. You know, you start to bore them, they're going to find something to chant. And
well, they were chanting for truth during the main event.
Yeah, here and there. Yeah, here and there. But
it wasn't like it was strictly the you know, like the middle of the second hour where they were chanting.
Yeah, right. It was here and there
during the main event.
It was here and there, but it wasn't like, you know, I don't know. There's been more powerful chants before. But hey, you know what, man? If people are pissed off about it, if the, you know, internet outrage over R-Truth starts to spill over into the in-arena stuff in a larger way, I'm all for it. I don't see it happening because I do think this is one of those things where there's a much larger disconnect between what's going on online and what we see in the crowds, more so than, you know, most things, I think. But I think the yeet thing is the biggest thing because you see, you know, the response to that online and then you see it in the crowd. And it's like, oh my God, like the internet people couldn't be further from the truth on that one, so to speak. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know if the R-Truth thing is going to have staying power, but yeah, I don't know. Time will tell, I suppose.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Money in the Bank qualifiers now, because the field for the men's Money in the Bank match and the field for the women's Money in the Bank match could not be further apart in terms of like star power and, to a degree, predictability. Now you have a theory, Larson. Let's hear his wrestling theory.
All right. So, of the 6 competitors in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, you have Seth Rollins, multi-time world champion. He's in the A story on Raw. And then, I don't mean this is disrespect, mid-carders.
Yeah. You got Seth.
You got Seth, you got Andrade, you
LA
got
Knight, Penta.
LA Knight, who's the closest of anybody other than Seth to maybe getting up to the main event. You got Andrade, you got Americano, you got
Solo Sikoa.
Solo.
Yeah.
So the disparity in terms of the power rankings, if you will, between Seth and the rest of the field, I think is pretty significant.
I agree.
And thus, it seems way too obvious for Seth to win this match.
Okay.
You know, especially given that Punk's coming after him. Sami might be coming after him. You know, sure, Seth has Braun and Bronson backing him up, but there could be all sorts of overbooked nonsense going on in this match that'll eventually take Seth out of it.
So,
I'm not done, but go ahead.
No, I know. Just to add some context to what you're saying here, last year Drew McIntyre won. I forget who we had picked to win. I think we had dismissed Jey Uso because he was all over the graphics holding the briefcase. But I think Jey was popular enough to win last year that was a possibility. LA Knight, I think, was a possibility last year. Drew, obviously. And then you had 3 mid-carders who didn't have a chance, Andrade, Carmelo, and Chad Gable. So this year, a little less predictable. So go ahead with your, seemingly a little more predictable this year. Yeah.
Yeah. If it is to be believed, all right, Seth is, in terms of accolades and how they're positioned on the card, the strongest competitor by far, therefore, and he's got a couple dudes backing him up. Seems like a shoo-in.
I agree with this. W.S. Fletcher says tier 1 is Seth, tier 2 LA Knight, the rest are tier 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Last night, neither of us gave Americano much of a chance to win, and yet he did.
We didn't talk about him at all. We talked about AJ Styles and that possibility.
Yeah, we didn't consider Americano winning it all. So, I texted you last night, half jokingly, Americano's going to win the briefcase and then cash in to win the Mega Championship from Vikingo. And I started thinking about that more. What's Chad Gable's thing? Every time he faced a luchador as Chad Gable, he lost.
Right.
Every time he's faced them, I think, or just about every time he's faced them, Americano, because he can hide the piece of metal under his mask,
he always wins.
He wins.
Yeah.
He's facing Vikingo at Worlds Collide, and he will lose that match.
Mm-hmm. As Chad Gable.
He will, as Americano, win Money in the Bank, the briefcase, cash in on Vikingo down the line. I don't know if they're still having a Triple Mania in August, but do the opportunistic cash in. And then Vikingo will unmask Americano and win the title back some point later this year.
At the other Triple Mania.
Well, maybe I was thinking, why not do it at like Survivor Series? It's the huge stadium show. It's in San Diego.
Ooh.
You know, do it there. It fits into the Gable story. It seems like Worlds Collide might be the kickoff to some storylines interweaving between what's going on in AAA and WWE or NXT. And I don't know. The more I think about it, the more sense it kind of makes.
Is this the kind of thing that's because I love the idea. I really do. I think it's a terrific idea because you would also really need to, and I would hope they would do this, put Vikingo on Raw for a couple episodes. If you show the general audience what this dude can do, then I think they'll be all about the cash-in being used. Because number one, that makes it super unpredictable. Yeah. Because now they're doing TNA partnerships. They've purchased AAA. No doubt there's more to come. Then it's not just like, oh, well, we've got a couple of mid-card championships that they could cash in on. No, now it's, hey, this can happen in any promotion at any time. And if Triple H isn't a big fan of Money in the Bank, either the prop or the gimmick or the story or whatever,
yeah,
because it handcuffs him to a world title changeover, or people get pissed off because it's a failure. Now, honestly, Money in the Bank cash-in failures are the stupidest thing in the world because it just disappoints everybody. It just, even from a storyline perspective, it sucks. Like, you can't name one failure that was like, oh wow, that was actually really well done. Like, you can't.
The one that made the most sense was Drew.
Yeah, but
even that was like, all right, it seems like a waste of the briefcase.
Yeah, it made sense for the story,
sense, but it was underwhelming.
Yeah, that's the best you're going to do on a failure. But now that WWE, in their monopolistic ways, are expanding globally, global localization, whatever they call it. Then this thing starts traveling all over the place. And I think you can get away with that as long as there's no failures with it. But I think you can get away with that. I'm not talking about go cash in on NXT. Who cares about that shit? I'm talking about other whole ass promotions that they're partnering with or purchasing. Then I think that's a fantastic idea. It might be such a cool idea that it's not going to happen because maybe he thinks, no, everybody's going to shit on it because it's not taking place for Jay's title or Cena's title. And so everybody's going to shit on it. But it's a great idea. It just might be too good of an idea or maybe too clever an idea for the general audience to be down with.
It's entirely possible. You know, the expectations for Money in the Bank are generally pretty high for whoever wins it. And, you know, when we were talking about what could happen at Saturday night's main event, we're like, oh, this could happen. That'd be interesting. This could happen. That could be interesting. In the end, whether they go with the safe, kind of boring outcomes. No Sami heel turn, no interesting way for someone to escape the cage in the cage match. It was all this pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. And they could definitely take that approach. It could just be simply Seth comes out, dominates, Punk and or Sami try to get involved, Braun and Bronson fend them off, Seth gets the briefcase. It could totally be that.
Yeah.
It could maybe even be LA Knight winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those would probably be the two safest choices.
Seth and LA, I think LA Knight's a distinct possibility because again, like I said the other day, you can just use that as like a you know, hey, I'm cashing in at the next pay-per-view situation.
I want my match against John Cena. I'm going to cash in, and it's just another challenger for Cena. LA Knight loses, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Here's another consideration for your idea. SBO, aka Keith here in the Twitch chat says if they do that, it might kill attendance in Mexico. Apparently, according to Lucha Blog, the in-arena response to Alberto losing to Vikingo was kind of tepid. Was like a smattering of polite. I haven't watched him myself. I'm just going by what he said.
Yeah.
He's pretty plugged in, and obviously he watched it. But there was like a smattering of... But there might be, dude. There might be the local resentment of... You know, you and I think what we do about Alberto. Apparently, he was pretty popular as Mega Champ. And so him getting kind of the short end of the stick, and everybody knows because he's on the outs with WWE. This title change is coming out of nowhere just so they can line up with what they want to do, WWE wants to do. Might not go over well with the local fan base. I wonder if they take that, if they're taking any of that stuff into consideration, or if they're just like, we're going to do what we're going to want to do.
They should. They obviously should.
Yeah. They really should, yeah.
You know, and if they're trying to build AAA around Vikingo, they might think, well, doing the story with Americano and eventually Vikingo gets it back from him. We do the Vikingo win on a large stage, really push AAA, try to bring viewership. Like, I don't know what designs they have WWE has on TV deals or production changes or anything like that with AAA.
Worlds Collide should at least be one decent initial indicator in terms of production change.
Maybe. But in terms of are they trying to find an American TV deal, like an English language TV deal for AAA?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I know you can watch AAA here on, was it Univision? Is it
probably?
Univision?
It gets really big ratings, or
yeah,
at least it did. I don't know now.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But I just don't know if what their plans for it are. I just don't know.
I'm looking forward to this Worlds Collide show, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I mean, say what you will about monopolies, but goddamn, this is some good matches on this card. I mean, dude, we paid attention to AAA for a while, and the last couple Triple Manias, I think universally were just sort of like, ah. And I'm not saying that WWE is going to come in and make everything amazing, but yeah, certainly, like it's a bizarre and kind of cool occurrence to have. You know, the matches that we have, the long-term implications for the business, I don't know. But, so yeah. Maggie says, apparently I didn't know Univision aired AAA. I've jumped ship to Telemundo recently.
As of last year, it started on...
okay. All right.
On Univision.
Probably does pretty well. In any event,
yeah, I would think so.
We got a couple sponsors for the show today before we dive into our larger Raw recap. Why don't we go ahead and talk about them?
Let's do it. This episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey guys, it's okay to struggle. 6 million men suffer from depression every year and it often goes undiagnosed. But real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying, and that's something that I found out when I was dealing with severe anxiety in my mid-20s. After years of carrying the weight of that anxiety, I realized that I had to do something about it and started seeing a therapist who taught me the skills I needed to better cope with my anxiety.
And with over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. BetterHelp is also making therapy far more convenient. You can join a session with a therapist with a click of a button, so you can fit therapy into your busy schedule, and you can switch therapists at any time.
As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And this episode of Going In Raw is also brought to you by Cash App. Larson.
What?
I'm going to be honest with you.
All right.
Sometimes being a stepdad is about being the dad that steps up. The other day, my oldest stepkid, Marissa, was over here visiting, and she mentioned she was low on gas but wasn't going to get paid until the next day.
Oh, so she asked the old man for some money, huh?
Yeah, man. Times can be tough for young adults these days. So I was like, here, let me give you $50 so you can get a tank.
Yeah, that's very nice of you.
I know, right? So I pulled out my checkbook and I started writing. She was like, the heck am I going to do with that piece of paper, old man?
You got out your checkbook?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, she has a point.
Yeah, kind of. So she was like, just Cash App me, dude. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense because Cash App is a safe, easy, and fast way to send, receive, and transfer money to family and friends. It's also easy to get started. Just enter your phone or email and some other basic information. No bank account needed.
And I'm guessing the money got to her quicker than that check you were about to write, yeah?
Of course it did. It was a check. Yeah, Cash App was super fast, and it's secure and safe. Like if you're about to send money to a sketchy account, a scam warning pops up.
All right, you've convinced me. I'm downloading it now, and then that way you can finally repay me for all those chicken sandwiches I bought you like through the years.
Oh.
I've been keeping tally on those. I think we're over a dozen.
I've got a tab with you?
You do.
All right, I'm gonna write you a check then. I'm gonna do that.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna write you a check. Nah, man. I'm just joking. I'm joking. But since you're a new Cash App user, check this out. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code GOINGRAW in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. All right, man. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quick is this whole world title scene. Sami Zayn was coming on really strong last night. I know it's kind of his gimmick. Like, he's really preachy. But, man, he was coming on really strong to Punk. And I know Seth literally stomped his head into an oblivion, which is, like, I think kind of past the line of, hey, we're on the same side, so let's act like we're fighting a little bit. No, I mean, Sami got stomped last night.
Yeah.
So the idea of him turning heel and joining Seth, probably no way.
Yeah, I mean, so you got Karrion Kross in Sami's ear saying, hey, we all know you're not a good guy. You know, you've done some terrible things. So, maybe we'll finally get a real feud with Karrion Kross and somebody after Sami's kind of done in the immediate World Heavyweight Championship scene. I think the idea of him constantly talking about winning the World Heavyweight Championship is more to get it in our minds so down the line, maybe leading into the Rumble, when maybe he's being positioned as a strong contender to win, we can all look back earlier this year as like, oh, man, this is something that he's been aiming for.
You lay a bunch of breadcrumbs down, and so that it's easy to go back and be like, hey, look at this right here.
Yep.
Even if it doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't know. There's between the Cross stuff, which the Cross stuff is really heavy. And if they want to keep up with the thread, it could be that Sami's the one guy who breaks the curse of Karrion Kross by actually engaging with him in a feud, which I think a lot of people, at least the internet people, really want to see. Mm-hmm. I certainly do. I think you do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's the case, but at the same time, boy, I'd love to see him in a good guy, bad guy feud with CM Punk. I think it'd be a lot. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I think, you know, Sami constantly talking about the world title, and him being like one of the most over baby faces, but also kind of occupying the same territory as Jey Uso. I don't know. I think that it's possible that they do turn him heel. I just don't think it's going to be against Seth because it doesn't make any sense.
No, it wouldn't make at this juncture. It wouldn't make any sense. Or
with Seth, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense for him to join up with Seth. And maybe it's just something down the line that if somehow Jey Uso is still champion come WrestleMania next year, and Sami's his challenger, then there's got to be a battle within Sami. Like, this is my friend. I can't cross the line in a match against my friend. But then again, I want to be champion really bad. Mm-hmm. What am I willing to do to win that title that I've been, striving for all these years?
I think ultimately that's got to be his story. And if you extrapolate that out, I think it's kind of reasonable that he goes heel. I just don't know if it's going to be anytime soon.
Yeah.
And they could always do the thing where, because Seth is definitely one type of heel, like a heel who makes good points, as opposed to like a desperate heel with Sami Zayn, if he goes in that direction. Mm. And then when you got two different kinds of heels there, then, you can have them feud a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. We should talk about the women's Money in the Bank field as well, because that was finalized with Stephanie Vaquer winning her qualifying match. She's in the bout now at Money in the Bank. And it's a stark difference between the field in the women's match and the men's field, where you have Seth and then below him LA Knight, and then seemingly a massive gap, and then the rest of the field in terms of how they're positioned. You do have three new arrivals to main roster in Stephanie, Julia, and Roxanne. All three of them former NXT Women's Champions. And I don't think any of them have lost. Maybe Roxanne's lost, and she got called up. Yeah, I think she has. But otherwise, like, they're
and
all
Julia
positioned.
Got killed in that tag match. I don't know about a singles match, though.
Anyways, they've all been positioned as strong competitors since arriving on the main
absolutely.
roster. And then you got Naomi. Mm-hmm. You got Rhea, who is, booked the strongest of just about anybody on the entire roster.
The Seth of the group, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's a loaded field.
And you got Alexa, who's got the legacy thing going.
Yeah. I mean, she's a former Money in the Bank winner herself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in terms of the level of intrigue in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is, well, if Seth doesn't win, who does?
Yeah, and with the women, it's like, well, who's gonna lose this thing? Like, they all have a really good, like, three of them, literally, if you were to power rank things, are probably on par with each other. You got Roxanne, Julie, and Stephanie. I've already mentioned them. They're kind of all on the same level. Roxanne is in a thing right now with the Judgment Day, so I don't know if that increases her chances or lowers her chances.
Well, you got to think Liv and or Raquel might come out there and like, oh, we're going to try to help you win, and then cost her.
And then cost her, yeah. Stephanie, it's obvious from her reception on Raw the time she showed up as NXT champion.
Heck, last night too.
And then, which seemingly, I feel like those appearances on Raw directly led to them being like, oh, we got to call her up like now. And the reaction she got, and the great video package they put in her presentation, it's just, she is so effortlessly a star. Mm-hmm. Like, she just exists and exudes the aura that they're looking for. So, like, that's an easy one as well. The thing about her, though, the one reason why I'd probably put her lowest in terms of that group of three is that she's a straight up good guy. Mm-hmm. Like, Roxanne's not, and Julia is not either. So I feel like she'd probably be, like, in terms of like the cash-in situation, I don't know if I see Stephanie running down with the ref to take advantage of a champion, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. And I'd probably put Alexa last on the list simply because she's got kind of other stuff going on.
Well, she's basically already feuding with Charlotte at this point.
Right. So there's like four that I'd be like, well, any of them could. But when you have Rhea and this terrific new version of Naomi, I kind of feel like it's got to be one of them. My heart says Naomi, and I think kind of my head does too.
Yeah.
But you can't dismiss Rhea Ripley.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
That's going to be number one. Both those matches are going to be really, really good. And the women's especially, they're going to kill it because, like, we have no idea. There can be, like, 4 false finishes where somebody's, like, grabbing the briefcase. You know, there's always that last one where they're a little bit more relaxed.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever gets it, they're a little bit more relaxed, except for that one year, the 2020 cinematic one where AJ had it and it just dropped it.
You don't have to remind me of that one. I don't want to think about that one again.
Boy, that's an all-time. That's probably the top going wrong all time. That was nuts. So, yeah.
It's pretty terrible if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's dive into this, man. So let's talk first about the Money in the Bank qualifiers. CM Punk comes out to does he open the show?
Yeah,
he opened the show
after people arrive. They always open the show with people arriving at the arena.
Oh, right.
What's going to happen later on, but the first segment was Punk. Yeah.
So he says it's great to be alive on a Monday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Talks about Michael Cole also. He made good on the bet and wore the tightest Indiana Pacers jersey he could possibly find.
Yeah.
I thought he looked really good in it, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I appreciate Pat just saying, you look like an asshole. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
So anyways, he says, what's that in the distance? A little bit of thunder. I think we're on pace to have a bit of a thunderstorm. Of course, the NBA Finals start this Thursday. He said, it's summer of Punk time. Stop me if you've heard this. 2-time Money in the Bank winner. 2-time successful cash in, and looking forward to doing it for the 3rd time. It's time CM Punk got some gold around his waist. So he talks about, he says there's a great list of champions. He says a longer list of challengers. He says champion Jey Uso. He says, Jay, when I win and it's me and you, it's not personal, just business. He says the second name on that mountain, his name is John Cena. He says, I cut my teeth in this company to hear everyone go bananas for John. But now he's public enemy number 1 because he sold his soul to a bald fraud goof. He says, when I win, if I so choose, John, I've always had your number. I'm going to come pick the bones, you little bitch. He says, I'm not just happy to be here, and I do love the money, but it's time I win some gold one more time. I'll see you later on tonight when I win the Money in the Bank qualifier. So that brings out Sami. And boy, oh boy, he just basically tells Punk, you got to win this thing, man, because if Seth wins Money in the Bank, oh boy, this place is going to go. It's going to turn into a shit show.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if it's a situation where I'll say this. If they want to motivate a feud between Punk and Sami, Seth winning would do that because then they can start pointing fingers at each other for being the one that dropped the ball and preventing Seth win. And so I guess that's something in favor of Seth winning. So then we have Roxanne backstage, and she walks up to Liv in advance of her qualifying match and says, what can I do to help? And Liv says, you want to help? Stay out of the way. So Liv walks off and bumps into Io. And Liv says, you again, Kyrie got lucky. I am going to be a 2-time Money in the Bank winner. I'm going to take back my championship. And Io says, not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
And then Liv just says, watch me.
So we had that match, Ivy Nile versus Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer. I do appreciate that the Devil's Kiss thing is so over. And the look on Stephanie's face, her being so tickled that it is so over. I mean, she's got to be pinching herself every day. You know what I mean? Like she's so popular. So she does it to both Liv and Ivy in succession.
It's interesting that move has gotten so over with her when Charlotte's done that for years. The same thing.
It's not quite the same thing, though.
Well, it's the same move, but I know what you mean.
So anyways, Ivy Nile's able to block an Oblivion. Ivy's kicked out of the ring. Vaquer hits a backslide for 2. Liv hits another code breaker and an Oblivion. Ivy throws her out, though. Tries to steal that win, a la The Miz and Aleister Black. Ivy throws her out, goes for the pin. Liv breaks it up at 2. She's able to jump back in. Liv drags her out, slams her to the apron. Ivy throws her in the steps, and she gets busted up, and she gets a big old cut.
She gets pretty good size cut in her forehead.
Ivy slides in to the ring. Vakir hits her finisher, and then covers and gets the win. Big pop for that.
Oh yeah, huge. And then we're backstage. AJ is warming up. Paul Heyman walks up to him, and he says to AJ, "You can accept my most profound wishes for a happy birthday, Uncle Alan." Says, "I brought you a gift. It has intrinsic value. Information is currency, and information is wisdom, and I have the wisdom to bestow upon you." We see Dom Mysterio running around with his dirty Sanchez mustache and making a disgrace of that Intercontinental title. The title needs you, AJ Styles, but Money in the Bank, you need to win a briefcase and just climb up and grab it. It's you and Punk and Americano. Just focus on Dom, the Intercontinental title, and leave Money in the Bank to Seth freaking Rollins. And AJ says, "Are you tired?
Are you tired?
Tired of chasing down that meal ticket. You look exhausted. You think I'll buy what you're selling? I'll get back to Dirty Dom, but you know me. I don't respond well to threats, and I know you well, and known you long enough to know that that's what that was. I don't care who it is. Push me and I'll push back. I got some advice for you, Paul. Why don't you go tell Seth I know all about his plan? That old saying, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." And then he jabs Heyman in the shoulder on his way out.
Yeah.
And then we got a bit backstage with Stephanie. Kathy asks her how she's feeling. Vakura says she feels great. Rhea walks up to her, shakes her hand, and says, "I'll see you on Saturday."
Side note, Rhea was wearing a sports bra. Earlier on social media, she was seen with a R-Truth shirt on. So it seems like they were like, "Hey, can you put something else on?" She probably said no.
I think Dom had a Carlito shirt on underneath his vest. It looked like it.
That's nice.
It looked like
let them wear the fucking shirts.
I know.
What
Apparently,
the hell?
Truth was selling tons of merch.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. We got a Penta video package. It says the most important ladder match in the world is Money in the Bank. The most deadly, dangerous wrestler is Penta. I've been waiting for this moment. Nobody as hungry as Penta. Money in the Bank is my destiny.
Density. So we had AJ Styles versus CM Punk versus El Grande Americano for the main event. AJ and Punk at the outset made the ref check Americano for the plate. No loaded mask this time. The match was as good as you kind of think it would be, man. This is really good stuff here. Of course, Seth's crew comes out, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Braun and Braun Industries.
Yeah.
To try to get this messed up, but Jay and Sami were immediately out. So Punk hits a GTS on Americano after a missed moonsault. Punk gets 2 because Breaker pulls him out. Reed and Breaker beat up on him. Sami and Jay almost immediately run down to help out. Reed bumps into AJ, though, because AJ's setting up for a phenomenal forearm on the apron, and so he sort of collapsed at the knees. And so instead, he hits a springboard onto everybody. AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm, but Americano hits that headbutt, covers AJ, gets 3. So he is the win. And then we see Punk attacking Breaker. Seth runs down. Him and Punk start brawling. Punk goes for a GTS, but Seth slips off, and Breaker hits a spear. Sami goes after Braun and Reed. So, yeah.
Yep. A lot of stomps, a lot of spears.
In the end, Seth's group stands tall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Punk's got to be at Money in the Bank. You'd think that he would cost. I don't know. Predictions are going to be kind of interesting, of course. Friendo in the Bank is on the line, and I have to be the favorite to win this, given that I am now the youngest ever Stephen Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast host to win predictions, as you can see from the hat.
Hold on a second.
Right now, I'm the favorite.
Why are you the favorite? No one's ever done it back-to-back. It's an incredibly tall task to win back-to-back predictions challenges when we have 400 and up participants every time.
Damn it, that's a good point. So what you're saying is now I'm the least likely to win this.
Yeah, I think so.
Shit. I got to recheck my math on that then. So anyways, the way you can get, I like how easily you can manipulate me. right now. Just click join to participate in the Going in Raw Predictions Challenge. You can do that. Or you can go to patreon.com/Steven Larson. And you can win an opportunity to cash in at a future predictions challenge. And you get this too. You get this cool attaché case. It's actually a case. What came in here?
It looked like some sort of camera stuff.
Yeah. It was what is this? Maybe it was one of the lights that I got. I forget. Something was in here. Now it's just a bunch of numbers. So after you cash in, you get the physical case. Plus you get a cool hat, which I think I have here.
But you don't get the numbers. The numbers stay with us.
No, the numbers. Yeah, I mean there's just a bunch of slips. Well, they can have the numbers.
Sure, I guess we can make new numbers.
We can just make new numbers. It's just slips of paper. So that's fine.
They're already done. I thought the work was done anyway.
And there's like a really cool hat too.
Yeah, the hat looks good.
Yeah. But yeah. The predictions challenge is coming up, so be sure to check that out. There you go.
So then Lyra had another face-to-face segment that was prefaced with a Becky video package. She said, I've only been back 6 weeks, and Lyra's cost me the tag titles, my chance at Money in the Bank. She says, I steal chances. She's in an echo chamber for the ignorant and morally confused about greatness and what it takes, therefore will never achieve it. She's forgotten everything I've done for her every moment in her career with glimpses of greatness because of me, double champ, NXT, Backlash, all because of me. Lyra, you're in a lose-lose situation at Money in the Bank. On the off chance I lose and never challenge again, that's the worst thing to happen to you because I'm the best thing that ever happened to you. But when I win, you have to raise my hand, the same one that is going to hold you down. Mm-hmm. So then after that, we have an in-ring face-to-face thing. Lyra makes her entrance. And she says, wow, such brave words from Becky all the way from her safe little hiding spot. How about you stop being a coward and get out here so I can say what I need to say right to your face. So this brings out Becky. And she starts to talk, but then Lyra interrupts, says, no, shut up. You said your piece, and all you showed the world is that you're delusional to the point of sadness. Your downfall needs to be studied. You made it all the way to the top being a good person who never gave up and stayed on top because you gave up on being a good person. But you were right about one thing. Since you started trying to ruin my life, I have changed. But you know what that is? Anger. I needed to get angry. And no one in my entire life has hurt me the way you hurt me. So funny to me that by holding me down, you unlocked the side capable of destroying you. I've beaten you twice. I have beaten you blind on Saturday when I beat the crap out of you and prevent you from ever poisoning the Women's Intercontinental title. And Becky says, the only thing poisoned is your perspective. You say I hurt you more than anyone else. I don't believe that's true. I think you want an excuse to hate me. You took any excuse to hate me because you want to replace me, but nobody can. I didn't want to hurt you. I wanted to make you better. But that's changed, and now I know that what will hurt you the most is when you're going to have to raise my hand. And Lyra says, all right, put your money where your mouth is, and let's give Tulsa a little preview. And Becky's like, I'm not fighting in Tulsa. I'll see you in L.A. And then Lyra rushes up the ramp to attack Becky. She has a couple of shots. Eventually, they're broken up, though.
Yeah, I thought this promo was a lot more effective than last week's with Lyra. She just had fire. It was like, you know what? I'm going to say a couple words, and then I'm going to call you out. And there was just a lot more. It was more efficient, a lot more fire behind it. So, and I think that's the way to go here.
Oh, yeah.
We had a tag team match, Sami and Jay versus Braun and Bronson. Injury, what did you call him? Injury specialist?
Injury specialist.
Braun and Braun, injury specialist.
You want something to go wrong, call Bronson and Braun or whatever.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. How would they fare against
tag match.
Morgan
The
and
idea
Morgan?
was that the baby faces were going to take out the heels.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't exactly happen that way.
No, it didn't. Seth came down and DQ'd it, though. He stomped. I thought he stomped Sami, didn't he?
It was Jay after he hit that. I thought it was Jay after he hit the. Maybe it was Sami, but Jay hits the suicide dive on everybody. And everybody's down. And then whether it was Jay or Sami, they start getting up. Whoopah. Punk runs out with a chair. He attacks Braun with it, takes out Reed as well, and then chases Seth off. So Seth and his crew all kind of reconvene. Later on, we get Sami and Jay in the locker room. Sorry, Sami and Jay get in the ring, and Seth backs up and says, we got them where we were, right where we want them, trust me. Mm-hmm. So then we're in the backstage. Sammy's icing up after what happened. Karrion Kross comes up to him and says, that was rough. Sami says, what the hell is your problem with me? Me specifically. Why are you hovering over me? What is your obsession? And Cross says, because I think you're a liar. You lie to them, you lie to the people at home, and worst of all, you lie to yourself. You could have been a champion 10 times over if you did what you needed to do. Sami, you aren't a good guy. You're a bad guy, just like the rest of us. Sami just goes, no, you're wrong. And Cross says, hey, I might be wrong, but I might be right too.
Ooh, might be right as well, yeah. We also had Jay and Gunther conversation. Mainly it was a one-sided conversation because it was all just Gunther. He says, just need to talk. He takes a seat, and he talks a lot. He says, you're a good guy, Jay, a selfless guy in a selfish business. Sami needs you tonight. What's the result? 1 week out, you're not 100%. I'm sure if Punk gets in trouble, you'll be there for him too. You were there when Cody needed you because everyone can rely on their good friend Jay. All of that is no business of the World Heavyweight Champion, but I want to thank you. Since I lost to you, I would have avenged it, and right now, you're making it very, very easy for me. In 1 week, the party's over. And then Jay just says, 4 letters, 1 word. Tap. See you next week, G.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Gunther. But Gunther's got a good point here. Jay's helping everybody else out, and he's making himself weaker for it.
Stretching himself too thin. Now, let's revisit, because we thought one of the reasons, too, that Seth would probably win Money in the Bank is that World Heavyweight Championship match with Gunther challenging Jay next Monday on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is Seth would win the briefcase on Saturday, cash in on Monday. He's got the World Heavyweight Championship. Now let's look at it from the perspective of Seth doesn't win the briefcase, regardless who does. I can still see a situation where Seth wants that finish to interject himself further into the World Heavyweight Championship picture and try to get himself a title opportunity via messing with the finish of that match with no briefcase involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see that match having a clean finish and a decisive victor between Jay and Gunther.
I could also see it having a really wildly overbooked finish, including Seth, Punk, Sami, and obviously Gunther's in the match, all leading to Jay retaining and then going off to do something else, and then Gunther has to deal with... I mean, they did Gunther and Punk on the house show circuit. Maybe they're going to do Gunther-Punk as a feud, as a proper feud, as a result of all that stuff. And then maybe just Seth and Jay end up in a feud, and they take it to SummerSlam where Seth ends up winning there in a straight-up match because he's Seth Rollins. He'll get a title shot if he wants a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that being the case as well. And then once Seth gets it, maybe they get on the road to Punk versus Seth, either WrestleMania like you had suggested or the Rumble or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Rusev had some stern words for Sheamus. Says, Sheamus, my old friend, you looked disappointed in me last week. How dare you? I'm doing the good work. I'm taking the weak and stopping them from slipping into the abyss, something you watched me do and did nothing. They actually had a shot of some B-roll from the League of Nations.
Yeah, League of Nations.
Says, last week you went to help a stranger, but when I needed you, you vanished. Do not mistake the man I was for the monster I've become. I am the son of thunder, and you are the weak one. Like I once was, you have a body of granite and a neck of sand. He used that same line in AEW.
I know. I loved that.
Says, you challenge the one man who has a move who can make it all go away like that. You are a legend, and it'll be my honor to take you off the field and send you home a true hero. Remember, brother, I went down because you stabbed my back. Stay out of my way or I'm going to snap yours.
Yeah, I thought it was a good promo, and I loved the granite and sand reference. So backstage, we had Sheamus pepping up, been giving a pep talk there to Maxine, Tozawa, and Natty. He was like, you know what? You guys got a lot going on for you. You stood up to a bully last week, didn't back down. He says, there's something special about the Alpha Academy. You all have something a lot of people don't have here. And he looks at Natalia and he says, Heart. Because she's part of the Hart family. And then they leave. And then Kathy's like, hey, what do you think about that Rusev guy? And Sheamus like, we go a long ways back. He was a groomsman at my wedding, but I can only stand back for so long because I had to do something. His career imploded because of his own bad decisions. A career outside of WWE lasted as long as Rusev Day, 24 hours. Me, I've been putting on banger week after week. Now he comes back to earn his name back the cowardly way. Nah. Someone needs to put manners on him, and that man is Sheamus. Here's a message to my old friend Rusev. I bully bullies.
Yeah.
So who bullies the bully? Sheamus.
Apparently Sheamus does.
But he's about to get bullied, too, because he's going to tap out to that accolade.
He is.
Game over, whatever they call it.
It's accolade in WWE.
That's right. Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, you're happy about the finish of this match.
Another win for Finn.
Are you just going to completely disregard him eating that pin in his Money in the Bank qualifier?
Yep.
All right.
This is 2 in a row for Finn Balor.
No.
In
2 out of 3.
that matter.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Good.
So we got more Judgment Day drama, of course. They had a tag match against War Raiders. New Day was on commentary for a chunk of this before they got thrown out by the ref. But yeah, in the end, Roxanne helps Finn and JD get the win. Distracting Ivar, so JD slam into the post, and then Finn follows with the coup de grace to get the W. They celebrate, so we go backstage. No Carlito. Liv walks in, is like, hey, I need to talk to you, Finn. And she says, Roxanne's in the clubhouse doing shoulder rubs. There's Nuggets interfering. I see exactly what you're doing. Finn's like, what am I doing? Where is this coming from? She's just here to help. That's it. I think you're frustrated because things didn't go your way, but she got JD and me back in the tag title picture, and if she wins Money in the Bank and wins the Women's World title, she'll bring that to the clubhouse.
He says that with a big smile on his face.
Oh,
like,
yeah. He's
what?
not hiding anything.
Nope.
So Liv says, you got this all planned out, huh? And he's like, no plan.
No plan.
Roxanne might come on a little strong. I get it, but you can trust Dom. And Liv says, it's not Dom I don't trust. And Finn says, trust comes with time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finn says, trust comes with time. Give it a chance. How about we make a plan? And Liv says, if you want Roxanne around, you can babysit her. Because he says, let's make a plan for Raquel's match against Kyrie. How about Roxanne goes out with Raquel rather than you, Liv? And Liv's like, no, I'm going to be in Raquel's corner. So they leave. And Dom walks up. Is like, all right, is everything okay? And Finn's like, oh yeah, just chatting. And Dom apologizes for last week.
Yep.
And then we had that match. Kyrie taking on Raquel Rodriguez.
Another win for Kyrie.
Yeah. Yeah. Hitting that insane elbow.
Yeah, this is a good match. She Liv tries to distract her towards the finish, but then Io comes running down to help out Kyrie. She attacks Liv, takes her out. Raquel grabs her. Kyrie. Oh, maybe that's when Liv got the.
That's when she got.
I think that's when she got the forehead.
The cut on her head. Yeah.
And then Raquel grabs her. Kyrie drop kicks her head into the post, then hits that insane elbow. Kyrie gets the win there, and then Kyrie and Io hug it out. And yeah, according to Chris Garrick's notes here, that is in fact where Liv was busted open. Yeah. That was cool. Good for Kyrie saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. She's getting some wins.
Anyways, let's go ahead and answer some questions now. Of course, we've got the thread up now for our hot takes episode that we'll be filming later on today. So if you want your hot take considered, be sure to hit that thread right now on the YouTube community tab.
All right. Black Sail 77 says, what are your thoughts on R-Truth coming back in a different role, like a manager or a Legends contract?
Whatever R-Truth wants to do, I think would be great. And I think WWE should consider it because they need some wins when it comes to PR. That stuff can, you might not notice it right now, but it could affect if people are on the fence about buying a ticket for a show a month from now or 2 months from now or the stadium show or whatever. Yeah. So, is it going to matter in the long run? I don't know. But sometimes these scenes can add up,
Yeah. Let's see. Film Critic says, do you think we are waiting for Cena versus Punk until autumn so we will see an interference from an authority figure to echo Money in the Bank 2011?
I don't know.
There really isn't anybody who kind of plays that role. Like, both the GMs aren't heels.
No, they're not. It would have to be Triple H in an on-screen role in terms of facilitating things. Like we saw that at WrestleMania last year. Mm-hmm. to a degree, although they sort of picked it up and dropped it. I think, yeah, I mean, if they want to build Cena Punk into like a huge thing, then yeah, like toss Triple H in there as a facilitator of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't anticipate that happening, but I think it'd be cool if you want to add some gravitas to it. Jay Smooth says, "Where's Ludwig Kaiser been?"
No clue.
I remember like a couple weeks ago, he had one of those commercial break promos up.
Yes.
But I remember, yeah. But it's like him, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate. I think they've just been all holding it down on Main Event, I think.
Yeah. Matthew Brownlee asks, if there is a fifth match added to Money in the Bank, what would you want it to be?
Okay, so right now the matches are Lyra versus Becky, the big tag match with Cena, Jay, Logan, and Cody, and then the two Money in the Bank matches. Jacob Fatu versus
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. Damian Priest wants a piece of that. So there you go. King's Catalog says, how long do you think until fans stop paying ridiculous ticket prices and stop going to bring prices down a little? I don't know, man. You know, it's one of those things where I haven't checked WrestleTix in a while to know like exactly what's going on with like are the shows all selling out now? I mean, obviously it's really good. Once I see it, I don't know.
You know, I would imagine, and it'd have to be a situation where obviously fans are of the opinion that the product is in a much better place now in terms of what they're seeing on television creatively. If there's a drop-off in creative, fans aren't invested in the stories that are being told on TV, they'd probably be less likely to invest money in attending the shows live, I would guess.
I think as long as Triple H continues to give us big moments once every couple months, you know, the Cena heel turn, obviously WrestleMania is a thing. If they do a big cash in, which I don't, you know, the cash in, that could be like a big moment thing. If they do it your way, I think it's cooler, but I don't know that it's like the big moment thing, you know?
Yeah.
So if he continues to give us that, like a Sami Zayn heel turn or somebody else joining Seth's faction, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As long as he continues to give us like decent, buzzworthy, talked about story moments, I do think that in that respect, there's a bit of a trickle down effect where people are like, oh, wow, that's really cool. It's kind of buzzy. Let's buy tickets, you know, because nothing else is bad. Like SmackDown might not be, you know, like amazing television, but like they always have good, like the tag team divisions got good matches. Like they're always able to get the people into it. So I don't know. I think there has to be some amount of sustained, like, boy, this has been boring lately. And Triple H so far has been pretty good about like keeping that at bay, you know?
Yeah. Diehard Homer says, Steve, since you are the prognosticator champ right now, and a shoe-in to go back-to-back as well. If traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches return at Survivor Series, who else would be on Seth's team? So we have Seth, you have Braun and Bronson. Give me two more.
Wow. Wait a second. Why does the predictions champion get stuck? I like your ideas.
Because you're the prognosticator these days.
Here we go. Chad Gable and Grande Americano.
Wow. How would they do that?
I don't know. Get somebody who looks really like Chad Gable. Put Nathan Frazier in there. He looks nothing like him.
No, nothing.
But Jacob Fatu under the mask. Bronson Reed. Oh, man. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Well, yeah, Chad Gable would be one of them. And then, I don't know, who's another bad guy? Oh, Rusev. Rusev on Seth's team. I don't know. Just thought of two bad guys there.
Andre Zimpel here says, who do you think would have benefited more from a successful cash-in, Baron Corbin or Damian Sandow?
Oh, man, what a great question. Dude, I still think that Sandow could have been a generational guy. I really do. He was so good.
He was
He
good.
was
He had
so good.
a unique take on his character.
Yeah. I say
Yeah.
Sandow, man. I think Sandow.
I still feel like that's the way Corbin, even if he had successfully cashed in, it would have been one of those situations where he cashed in and Vince is like, I made a mistake. Let's get the title off him right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it would have been in even more humiliating fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be.
So,
anyways, I think that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
goodbye.